Welcome back to Crosswalk.com's Inside the Editor's Room podcast, where we take a look at how our editors tackle the trends and issues of the day from a Christian perspective. I'm Stephen McGarvey, the editor-in-chief here for Crosswalk.com, and I'm joined today by our senior editor, Kelly Givens, and our managing editor, Sean McAvoy. Rachel is on vacation just this week, so there's just three of us. We're excited to bring you our mini episode 8.5 of the podcast, where we talk about one issue instead of three. And today's episode is about rest and relaxation, which is appropriate with Rachel. Rachel currently on vacation. Kelly is just back from vacation, and Sean and I are about to have a vacation. Yeah. So, Kelly, you had some thoughts about how we could begin this conversation. Why don't you start us off with our rest and relaxation episode.
Fresh back from the beach.
That's right. You seem very relaxed and ready for this conversation. So now that you've had a week to just relax, can you dissect that a little bit and tell us what is relaxation to you, and how does that conform to your Christian worldview?
Especially when you have a toddler.
Yeah.
Sure. And I have deep theological thoughts on this. So.
Excellent.
No, I don't. I have no really great points. But I do feel like, I think I told you guys this earlier, that the difference between being a mom with a toddler at home and being a mom with a toddler on vacation is not like more rest in the sense of, oh, I'm very well rested. But it is rest in the sense of like the mental load of all the other things that I have to think about in a day is dialed back so that like I can actually work and, chores around the house and plan, just getting everything done at home, cooking meals and getting everyone, organized and on their way to their various things. Like all of that is dialed back so that I can actually be more mentally present. And I think the things that, would tick me off or bother me at home, like kind of I just can like let those things go and enjoy myself a little bit more. And so I did find rest this past week.
So does a change of venue have to do with that, or just the fact that life is so overwhelming for a modern American woman that just to be able to dial back a little bit of that makes all the difference?
I think it's both. I mean, we vacation with Kent's family, my husband's family, every year, and that is actually a great thing with a kid because you can kind of just put that child in, there's several other eyes that are looking after the kid, so you don't always have to have your eyes on them, which is, for a toddler, is huge because you feel like you're constantly being referee around the house. So there's that kind of aspect where I don't have to be hands-on as much. But I think, too, getting out of the house is so helpful because, and this is maybe just my type A personality and not necessarily stage of life, but if there are things that are around the house that should be done, I'm going to err on the side of going to go do those things instead of actually resting. And so that tends to be, if I'm away from it and I can't, do another load of laundry or go dust something or, put away things, then I'm like kind of more forced to just slow down and, I brought this book with me. I can actually sit down and enjoy it. Whereas I don't give myself that as much at home. So, yeah.
I think I'm a little bit the opposite of you.
I
am the king of rest in my day-to-day life.
You're a man of leisure.
I do still like a good vacation.
Teach me your ways.
It's I am tempted to describe it as laziness, but I really, really don't think it is, and that's not me saving my own face in front of myself. Yeah. There's just times where I know I have neighbors who can't rest. Okay, so one of them is a cop, and if he's not out on patrol, he is not sitting at his table. He is not just playing with his kids. He's building something or fixing something or going up to the church to do a repair. Just can't sit still. Now I envy that a little bit because I don't see my own strengths as strengths. I would rather be doing what he does. So, but when we do have a big job to do, we're doing the deck now. I like to give myself something to look forward to at the end of the day, like maybe going out to eat or something. But I don't have any problem sitting down, taking a breath, enjoying a ball game for an inning or two, or going to a movie, or playing a game with the kids or something like that. So, in the day to day, I find it important. I do find it. A scriptural and theological concept. Obviously, God gave us the Sabbath, and that we also just can't go physically nonstop. So when I come to the office, enjoying my space there is important to me too. I'll enjoy sitting in there and putting on some music. Anything I can do in a certain situation, just like what we've talked about even with our podcast here, put it on in the car on the way home or something else that you enjoy listening to. The commute turns into a moment of rest for me, even when it can be stressful and I'm yelling at the other drivers. So I try to instill it into everything I do, which is what makes it very ironic about certain vacations. And my wife and I were just having this argument this weekend that there will be things I don't want to do because crowds. A lot of people like to take a rest by going to a big city or a big event. And that's not restful for me. So there's a give and take there, but I try to put it more in the everyday so that I can stress out for the vacation I'm about to take, which I think is why I'm one of those people who needs a vacation from his vacation usually when it comes home.
Yeah, I think you always need like a day buffer to just kind of get back into it. Yeah, we've had a similar thing with, we had friends that we were going to go vacation with, but as we were talking to them and trying to figure out, okay, well, what would you enjoy doing on this vacation? It became apparent that these were the type of people that wanted to go do everything that they could do in this city, whereas I'm the type of person that I need, like, if I'm going to take a day off, I cannot do all the, like, running around. Like, I have to just be, like, laying flat on my back with a book, chilling out. So we were like, maybe this isn't the best stage of life for us to be hanging out with, this certain friend, or going on vacation with this certain set of friends. Yeah, we're just going to all be frustrated.
But that's part of rest, is knowing what you rest in.
Yeah. How about you, Steve? What kind of things do you do to rest?
Well, this is ironic because I feel like I am a little bit of column A, Kelly, and a little bit of column B, Sean. I feel like there are times that there's just so much rest built into my life normally that it's hard to imagine you actually needing rest or a break, because it's like, well, my life is just kind of cushion. I don't like dig ditches for a living, or I don't patrol the city streets, or I don't do anything that's typically very physically strenuous. But the way I look at it is, for me, rest is a break from the to-do list. It's sort of like when I'm here, at work, and even oftentimes at home, it feels like work to have that list of things that have to be done, and it feels like rest to have that, to be able to put that aside. So, you mentioned the commute. I'm exactly the same way. That the commute for me mine is about 30 or 40 minutes, and that is like my cushion of safety zone in my car with my podcasts or my audiobooks. It's like that transition time from this world at work where I have these responsibilities, and then the world at home where I have like home family responsibilities. That's sort of like the teeny little mini rest vacation of my day. And I try to protect that. A lot of people just take calls, and I try not to take any calls during that time or anything like that, and just sort of like not veg out, because I don't want to crash, obviously.
Sure,
but so when I want to like take a big long rest, in a vacation. I tend to be the kind of person. It's like, I would like to go somewhere and just not do anything for a long time. That doesn't mean I don't enjoy it when we do, go to a city or go to a theme park or something like that. But that's the kind of vacation or rest time that I have to have a recovery rest from, because, if you go to, you go to Disney World, you go to someplace like that, it's plan, fit in all the things, make the money count, because it may be a long time before you do anything like that again. Right. And it's for me, those sorts of things are not particularly restful. It doesn't mean, like I said, I don't like to do that sort of stuff sometimes, but it's it's fun, but it's usually the opposite of rest.
That's
if I have to fight a crowd or a line, or queue up for Space Mountain or something like that, that's kind of that's draining. And I think for rest and relaxation, it's important to know yourself well enough to know how you recharge those batteries. And you can have these, these little frustrations of, well, we really want to go on a vacation with these people because we love them. And then you realize the way people live their lives and the way people live their vacation lives can be very different. And then making those styles work together, that can be a real challenge. Don't you think
there's vacation introverts and extroverts as well?
Yes. Totally, definitely so.
But Steve, that's why I thought it was so perfect. And you don't have to reveal to the audience where you're going if you don't want. But when you told me what your next vacation is going to be. So it's just, that's perfect for you and your family.
Yeah. I'm going to Alaska. So it's something I've always wanted to see and never had the opportunity. So when the opportunity came up, I was like anxious to go for it. So and I'm kind of, we could even debate like, well, where do you go for relaxation? And I know you, Kelly, you love the beach, and I just
the beach versus mountains debate.
I definitely like woods and mountains for a setting that's relaxation, whereas the beach is like kids pulling on you and hot sand and sunburn, and you mean we've got to haul all this stuff out because if we don't, we're not going to have food and we need shade, so there's an umbrella and that world is nothing wrong with it. It's just not particularly relaxing for me.
And that's why I think that the concept I've heard people talk more about in recent years is finding your happy place, and especially as that relates to the vacation type of rest and this whole beach versus mountains type of debate. Ours for years now has been on the banks of the Shenandoah River in this river house that we found on VRBO, and the kids were baptized by my father-in-law under the tree in the stream, and now they're trying to sell it and it's off the market, so we can't go back.
Oh, no.
So I know it's so sad. We're going to miss it, but that literally has come to embody our happy place. But the other one we have that would surprises most people we tell, because we don't like the go is Universal Orlando. But the secret to that for us is my wife and I are selfish and go by ourselves, and we're the only people in the park actually resting. We feel sometimes everyone else is corralling children or rushing from one ride to the other, and we made
your
such
time and enjoying it.
Strolling through.
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience when you have 4 or 5 or 6 people that all have something in mind that they absolutely have to do, and you just become sort of
make it a park
the
experience.
guide to make sure that everybody gets to their thing, and that can be really stressful when the line is 2 hours long. And and again, it can be fun and have rewards, but it's definitely a different kind of vacation. So
when we were at the beach, my husband was like, well, what are some of your favorite memories from the beach? And I told him, I was like, I don't know if there's necessarily memories as much as when I'm at the beach, and the reason that it's my happy place is I can finally, like all the other things that I'm thinking about usually go on the back burner, and it's a place where my imagination is awoken again, my curiosity about life. I find myself being able to reflect, but not in a introspective way, but just in a like, God is so big and amazing, and like, look at this creation. I think it's like I'm in the mountains and can do the same thing, and I think it's just where can we go to get out of our own lives a little bit and step into something that is a little bit more sacred than kind of our rushing around in daily life. But I was going to ask about the daily life, because we kind of talked about vacation and like getting away, but I heard a really good quote once from Abraham Heschel, and he said, if you work with your hands, you should Sabbath with your mind. And if you work with your mind, you should Sabbath with your hands. And I've been thinking about that in the past couple of weeks, because, I think we work with our minds more than our hands here. And I've been trying to, like, at lunch, just get outside and pull a few weeds. Like, I love working in my garden. I love planting things. And I love going on, like, short walks around the neighborhood. Those are the kind of things that I do that kind of, I think, could do a daily Sabbath, and I think that it's like re-engaging another part of my body that isn't always my mind, because my mind, whether it's about work or my own self or my family, it's just go, but to get and move my body and do work with my hands kind of gives me a mental break. So what about you guys? What are things you do kind of in the week to week that help you find rest from work and other things in life?
I've got to pack so much from what you just said. First, I'm totally on one half of my brain. I'm totally just relating to what you said about beach memories that I don't have them, but I have a lot of beach feelings.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. And then this whole concept of, okay, wow, what do I do? Okay, so maybe that is why I like going home and throwing the baseball around with the kid, or going to practice, or doing a game, or working on a project with Lauren. because I've been using my brain all day, and now I use my hands.
Different.
So I've got to think about all that now, Kelly Givens. What about you, Steve?
I've actually never thought about that from that perspective before, and that's very interesting. Yes, our work here is very mind focused and mental, and I part of that is because I've never been particularly drawn to the physical things, and I just don't like them all that much. It's like there's
Sweat
absolutely
is gross.
it's absolutely more work that I would rather not do to like work on the lawn or fix something that's broken in my house or things like that. I think I typically change the tone of the mental when I go from work to relaxation. The work that I do, it's very theological. There's a lot of writing and editing and digital business kinds of things, and I think the way I relax from that is completely shifting out of those kinds of things to think about, those kinds of task lists, into just things that just I enjoy for joy's sake, and like listening to audio novels on audiobook and different things like that, like making a distinct shift in the kinds of things that I'm engaging with is usually how I find just that relaxation and release. And there was, for a long time in my life, I never ever read any fiction because I felt like I just don't have time for that. And that's for people who like to waste time. And in the last 10 or 15 years or so, I've really grown to love reading novels and short stories and enjoying fiction for what it is, and developed an appreciation for storytelling in many different forms. And that's sort of how I take my mind off of, oh my gosh, what do we run today? How do we cover this issue? Are we going to do something that falls outside of, we going to imply that we're, pushing people outside of Scripture? Or is this the right person to address this, all of the cacophony that can go into a day, what we do here of planning out what we show to the world. And then I can just okay, I'm done with that. Now I'm going to spend 30 minutes listening to an audiobook, or now I'm going to, watch a few episodes of something on Netflix. That's a really intriguing story. So that's a long answer to your question, Sean, but that's kind of how I look at it. And I probably should, your ideas are very intriguing to me, Kelly Givens. I probably should try to do.
Let's all go outside and shovel something.
Yes, let's do something physical. It's 85 degrees out. We can handle that. I'll sweat through my shirt in 5 minutes, but it's all good.
But you'll feel good.
I'll feel good when I'm done.
I have long known that I'm my most effective as an individual when I'm busy, not overly busy or overwhelmed, but not just left to wallow in my own ways.
Yeah.
But then the flip side of that is I get my best ideas when I am at rest or in hobby time or just whatever. So it's
I agree.
One helps the other, and this one helps that one.
When you empty your mind, you allow a little bit, not completely, but a little bit, you allow that room to sort of let your mind breathe, if your mind can breathe. And it helps percolate. Good ideas.
Exactly. So it's not just ideas. I also say that's when I have my best prayer times and just meditations and kind of thinking about the things of God too. So, so that's what rest does for me. And I think that's what hobby time does for me as well, is really helps you do those things. The functionality is great, but then switching to the other mode, better.
Yeah.
So to wrap this up, let me ask you one final question. And I had initially thought about this from the perspective of a vacation, but it can be also a real relaxation trip. If you could take any vacation or create any time of relaxation in your life that you haven't done yet, maybe a bucket list kind of thing, how would you set that up, or where would you go, and how would that form in your life?
Overwhelming.
I know. I need to think. Okay.
Well, I can answer first because I think I know. I've never been on a cruise, and I want to take one, and I want to go to Alaska. Because I don't want a hot cruise, and I don't want a party cruise. So,
you don't want a Disney cruise.
So, yeah, right. That doesn't sound very relaxing to me either. The Disney cruise, my children running around and going crazy. So, yeah, that's what I think of. I think of trips to cooler climates because I don't like the hot as much. I mean, I have good beach memories, but cool and solitude. So,
maybe the Pacific Northwest.
Oh yeah,
perhaps.
There's that too because
that's beautiful there.
My wife's been up to Whistler, Vancouver area several times, and I've never been, so I'd like to go up there too. But
Yeah, I haven't thought about this a ton. We're not huge travelers. That's not really the thing we do for fun, but other than the beach or going to a cabin once a year. But I think that if I were going to do some bucket list or have a bucket list thing, it would probably be going somewhere ancient. So older European country or an older Asian country, somewhere where there's beauty and there's a few things to go see. I want to see, what's there, but I think also a place where you can be meditative and reflective and to find somewhere that looks very different from Virginia, but is also a place of beauty is probably what I would choose. I don't have a specific destination in mind, but I think that's what I would pick.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
How
what about
you?
yourself?
Yeah.
I think I would go to New Zealand. I would like to go.
Take the Lord of the Rings tour?
Oh, well, of course. But when you look at when I see pictures, it's so far away from where we are here in the U.S. It seems incredibly remote, and it's so unique in its topography, and it's kind of one of those things like I'd really like to see that before I die, kind of. And what would be fun is to set it up so that it could be more of a retreat than a vacation when you're running around, queuing in lines for amusement park rides. Just sort of like a way to just go and see all the unique climate and topography, and maybe sit for a couple weeks and just
be there for a while on
write
holiday.
and read. Yeah.
That's why the Brits have the better idea on the vacations.
Yeah.
It's not so much bedlam and just more of a relaxation time. But that's kind of like risen to the top of the places that I haven't been that I'd like to go. And it's far enough away that it's kind of a sketchy thing to think. For me, although anybody could make any trip happen. It's kind of like, well, that's the out there thing that if I ever got to see New Zealand, I think that would be the pinnacle. I'd really like to see that. So
Very cool.
Well, guys, this has been a blast talking about vacations and relaxation with you. We've had a little fun here and shared a few laughs. And for our audience, tell us what you like to do to relax. Tell us where you're going on vacation, and down in the comments section here on this page or on our Facebook page, which you can get to at facebook.com/crosswalkpodcast. Thank you, Kelly and Sean, for joining me to talk about this. Thank you, Steven Sanders, our audio engineer who makes all the tech stuff happen. To find out more about the things we've talked about today, or to listen to past episodes, be sure to visit our site, InsideTheEditorsRoom.com, and be sure to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or wherever fine podcasts are sold to get the latest episodes downloaded right to your phone. Thanks for listening.